Okay, hi everyone. I am here with your 723 lesson, How Can I Find the Slope Ratio, Slope in Different Representations. In lesson 722, you learned how to use the number to describe the steepness of a line. Today you will work with the different representations of lines and look for how the slope can be found in each representation. As you work with your study team today, keep the following questions in mind. What is being compared to find the slope ratio? What would it look like in another representation? So 755, a planting manual printed in the 755. A planting manual printed the grass below so that gardeners could predict the height of the trees after planting. Jill wants to figure out the rate that each tree will grow. She remembers that slope is a ratio of the vertical change to the horizontal change between any 2 points on a line. The units for the vertical change are the same as the y-axis, and the units for the horizontal change are the same as the x-axis. Finding the slope for each graph will allow her to compare the change in height to the change in time. On a lesson 723 resource page, draw and label slope triangle on the line in graph 1, then write the slope ratio. How fast does the tree in graph 1 grow? So let's take a look at your resource page. (755) graph 1, we're looking at lattice points. Now remember, there's a picture here for you if you're not sure. Your lattice points are where your line crosses exactly right on, and then your slope triangle. So go ahead and try and draw your lattice points. Okay, if you're back with me, you tried to draw them, so I'm going to try and draw them so you can see them. So we have a point there and a point there. So when I draw my slope triangle, I know that my slope triangle is 2, 1. So on part A, my slope is 2 over 1, or 2. So what that means is the tree is growing 2 meters per year. Part 2 says, can you find the slope on graph 2 just by looking at the line? Why or why not? When it is difficult to read the slope on a graph, look for the points where the line appears to pass through lattice points, where the grid lines intersect. Then use those points to create a slope triangle and find the slope for graph 2. So go ahead and try part B. Okay, if you're back with me, you've tried part B, so let's take a look. Let's make our lattice points. I'm going to start at 0, 0 because I know it's crossing there, and at that point right there. So connecting my slope triangle, up 3 over 2. So I know that my slope is 3 over 2. So what that means is in 1 year, the tree grows 1.5 meters. Okay. Part C says, on the resource page, use lattice points to draw a slope triangle for each of the lines in graphs 3 and 4. Then label each slope triangle with its dimensions and calculate the slope ratio. So go ahead and pause the video and do part C, which is graphs 3 and 4. Okay, if you're back with me, that is going to be something that we saved to talk about in class, graphs 3 and 4. So flipping over to 756. 756 says 3 different students looked at the line graphed at right, and each drew a different slope triangle. Their slope triangles are labeled A, B, and C in the graph at right. Find the length of the horizontal and vertical sides of each slope triangle A, B, and C on the lesson 723 resource page, or use the 756 student e-tool. What is the relationship between triangles A, B, and C? Explain your answer. Using what you learned in Chapter 6 about the ratios of the side lengths of similar figures may be helpful. So go ahead and answer part A. Okay, if you're back with me, you should have hopefully come up with something that the slope triangles are all similar. triangles are all similar. So remember that similar means that there is a constant ratio between the corresponding side lengths of each triangle. Okay. Part B says find each slope using the slope triangle. So go ahead and find the slope using the slope triangles. And once you're done with that, go ahead and move on to part C as well, because we are going to save part B and C to talk about in class. So go ahead and pause the video and finish answering parts B and C. If you're back with me, you've answered parts B and C. The last question that you're going to answer on your own is question 758. We are going to save this and talk about it in class because it is good discussion. So 758, you're going to complete it. When you're done, please make sure you upload pictures of your work for today's lesson into Google Classroom. And as always, if you have any questions, you can email us.